Your district's best ideas may already exist. We often think that districts don't have good ideas, teachers don't have the good ideas. They actually already exist. And that matters because potential can be buried inside systems that do not know how to recognize it. They don't know how to recognize it. What has been placed inside people still needs the right environment to grow. So in districts, this means leaders have to create space where ideas can surface instead of being silently buried. Just like I told you, the ideas are buried. Bold ideas, this is the result. Bold ideas get watered down. They literally get watered down before they're even tested, right? We haven't even tested the idea. Because, if a teacher has an idea, they've got an idea, but says administration will never go for that. A principal has an idea, right? But says, central office will probably just shut it down. A student has an idea, right? But says, no one's gonna listen to me anyway. A district leader, right? They have an idea. But they say, hey, we need to be realistic because it's not going to happen. We do need wisdom. We got to have wisdom when we're thinking about these ideas. What we call realism is really just old thinking wearing professional language. And that is why the ideation phase of the Thought Innovation Roadmap matters. It matters because ideation creates space for possibility before the system rushes to limitation. It gives leaders and teams room to ask, what else could this become? What are we not seeing yet? And what would we try if we were not trapped by the old version of the system? Just think about it, the old version of the system. What human need is trying to surface through this problem? Because this is key. Because innovation is not just about having more ideas. There's ideas everywhere. It's not about that. It's about creating the conditions where meaningful ideas can emerge, right? Because like I said, they're buried, but they can emerge, right? You got to create the space. And this connects directly with certifying innovation. It really does, because if a district wants to certify innovation later, it has to capture the thinking that created the innovation in the first place, right? You got to capture the thinking. We need to think more today. So here's what a district needs to think. They need to think about what possibilities were considered. Why was this idea selected? Whose voices shaped the direction? And what assumptions had to be challenged? That's a big one. That becomes part of the innovation story. Every district has it. I'm telling you, there's innovation. And if not, we can create it, right? They need to understand the journey because stakeholders do not just need to see the final product. They got to go on that journey, right? They need to see the work was thoughtful, human-centered, and connected to real needs. They need to see it. So if your district is stuck, the answer may not be to push harder. Sometimes we want to work harder. We want to push, but it may not just be to push harder. I'm telling you, the answer may be to create room for better ideas to breathe. And we need to get there and tell the story of how we did on the road to innovation.